In this lesson, we're going to look at how to create just a regular class method. We'll actually create two. We'll create a display and a way to change the time. So let's take a look at what we have. We have our data members, we have our constructors, we have our getters and setters. So we're really at a point where we need to do something with this class. So let's write a method called increment. And what we're going to do is we're going to have it increment the time by a specified number of minutes. It could be 1 minute, it could be 5 minutes, it could be however many minutes we want. On the surface, it seems very easy to write this method. It simply has a one parameter m, and we increment the minute by m. And here I'm using the composite assignment operator, addition, to add whatever the m value is to the data member minute. The problem is that if we go over 60 minutes, really over 59, then we're going to roll over into a new hour. So what we really need to do is this. We need to have an if statement here that says if minute is greater than 59, hour plus plus, or plus plus hour, doesn't really matter, and minute minus equal 59. Oops. Actually, let's do it minus equal 60. That probably makes more sense. So for example, if minute is incremented to 62, then that's 2 minutes over a new hour, so we'd increment hour by 1, subtract 60 from minutes to get the 2 minutes. And we can test that in a couple of ways here. Let's do one more thing though before we're finished with this. Let's write a display method. That's simply going to display the hour and the minute and the second, using standard colons to separate the two. And I've made this very simple in that I didn't try to worry about what happens if the hour is 5. That's not going to display as 05. It's just going to display as 5. That would be something that you could definitely add to your class definition or your class method definition to make it a little better. So let's try a couple of things here. We've got a current time, a new time object. Let's increment it by 30 minutes. And then let's display the time. We've got to do that in a system out print line, however. Remember that it returns a string. Then let's increment it by 30 more minutes. Let's do it by 35 minutes this time. And then display the time again, and let's see what we get. So let's compile. Whoops. So let's take a look at what our problem could be here. Oh, very simple little mistake. String is capital S. Let's compile again. You'll see that my errors are almost always little typos, and hopefully yours will be also. Now we'll run it, no problems. So we'll close the class. Let's run it. So our first incremented time was 6:30. Then we incremented by 35 minutes, and it went to 7, and then we subtracted 60 to get 5, so that's exactly right. So when you're writing class methods, a class method is really not that much different than methods that you're used to writing, the static methods we wrote earlier in the course. Just understand that you're working with the data that is inside the class. So when we refer to a class method, such as increment or display, they're inside the class definition of time. So they're not static methods that would work here in our main program. They only work when we call them from a class object, like here with increment, and right here with display, using the dot operator. Other than that, there's not much else to say about class methods. Every method you write is going to depend on what the class object is trying to do. You just need to understand that a method written inside a class only has access to the data either that's passed in as a parameter for increment or the data members that are part of the class definition. So that wraps up this lesson on class methods, and we're going to wrap up our discussion of class or of classes with a discussion of a particular keyword that you might find coming in handy, and that's the this, THIS keyword.